I want you to forget everything you've been told about how life works, about effort, struggle, circumstances, and timing. I want you to drop, just for a moment, the heavy belief that the outside world is the ultimate authority on what you can or cannot have. What if I told you the life you're living right now is simply a reflection, not of truth, but of old thoughts and assumptions you once held to be true? What if what is nothing more than the echo of a previous you? We've been trained since childhood to trust only what we see, to believe in facts, to surrender to reality. But here's the secret: reality is late. By the time you see it, it's already done. It's history. The real power is not in the facts of your life, it's in your consciousness. And the moment you understand this, the moment you stop reacting to what's in front of you and begin creating from within, everything changes. There are people walking this earth who are quietly living lives of miracles. They are not hustling. They are not trying to make things happen. They are creating from the inside out, knowing that reality bends to their inner world. They do not deny what's in front of them, but they no longer let it rule them. They know the secret: ignore what is and create what you want. So, if you've ever felt stuck, limited, or defeated by your current situation, this message is your doorway to freedom. This is not motivational fluff. This is not hope. This is spiritual law. And if you will dare to believe, just long enough to hear me out, you will never again feel powerless in the face of your circumstances. Stay with me, because I'm about to show you how to step out of the loop and into your power. Your current reality is not the ultimate truth. It is a reflection, a shadow, an echo of who you used to be. The conditions you see now, your finances, your relationships, your health, your environment, are all the results of past thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions that were once alive within you. They are not fixed, they are not final, and they certainly are not your destiny. They are merely what has been, not what must be. The trap is in believing that what is all there is, that the way things appear now is somehow the final word on your future. But here's what the world doesn't teach. Reality is shaped not from the outside in, but from the inside out. If you will dare to ignore what your senses are screaming at you, and instead create a new world in your imagination, one where you already have what you desire, you will begin to see miraculous change. Your imagination is not some idle faculty. It is the workshop of God. It is where creation happens. When you close your eyes and feel the thrill of your desire already fulfilled, when you walk through the corridors of your mind, seeing, touching, hearing the life you dream of, you are planting the seed. And that seed, when nourished by belief and feeling, must grow. The world has no choice but to reflect it. You are not here to report reality. You are here to create it. And creation begins when you refuse to let your senses dictate your truth. Feel broke? Dare to feel wealthy. Feel alone? Dare to feel loved. Feel sick? Dare to feel whole. Don't wait for the outer world to change. It can't. Not until you do. The law is simple. You must be it inside before you ever see it outside. Every time you react to what is, you give it power. You feed it, you confirm it. But when you ignore it, not with fear, but with faith, you take your power back. You step out of the illusion. You stop living like a victim of conditions and start living like the creator you were born to be. That's when the bridge of incidents begins to appear. Those unseen magical sequences that rearrange people, places, and circumstances to match the new state you've assumed. But here's the key. You must persist. One night of imagination is not enough. This is not wishful thinking. This is dominion. It's repetition. It's daily embodiment. Every morning you rise as the version of you who already has it. Every night you sleep with the vision of your wish fulfilled. And when the doubts whisper, when reality screams the opposite, you smile and say, I know what I've planted. I know what's growing. There will be moments when nothing around you reflects your desire. That's when the test comes. Will you go back to reacting, or will you stand firm in the unseen? The world bends to those who do not bend to it. The unseen must be honored before it becomes seen. That's the law. That's the mystery. That's the power most never understand. But you do now. You are the operant power. Not your job, not your family, not the economy, not fate, not luck. You. Your assumption is the engine. Your imagination is the blueprint. Your feeling is the fuel, and your reality. That's just the end result. So stop reacting. Start creating. Ignore what is, and create what you want. What you see is not all that is. The world you observe with your physical senses, the events, the people, the circumstances, this entire material projection is only a delayed snapshot of a former state of consciousness. The outer world, as convincing as it may seem, is not the source of your reality, but the reflection of your internal assumptions and beliefs. Everything that currently surrounds you is just a mirror showing you what you have previously accepted as true about yourself, about life, and about what's possible. To give ultimate power to what is visible is to hand over your creative authority to a fading echo of your past thoughts. And yet this is what most people do. They look around, they judge what is, and they make conclusions based on appearances. They believe that what they see is all that exists, and worse, all that ever can be. But that is not how true creation works. The spiritual principle is this: everything begins in the unseen. The invisible world of thought, imagination, belief, and feeling is the true cause of all physical manifestations. The world of form is only the effect. It is the afterthought. It is the finished photograph developed from the film of your inner reality. So when you walk through your day observing conditions that do not please you, whether it's lack, limitation, loneliness, illness, or rejection, what you are seeing is not reality in its purest sense. You are seeing an outdated snapshot of consciousness. You are witnessing the end product, not the origin. And because it is already created, you cannot change it by fighting with it, worrying about it, or wishing it away. Trying to change the outer world without changing the inner state is like rearranging the reflection in a mirror instead of adjusting your face. The mirror cannot initiate change, it only responds. And so does life. When you come to understand that what you see is not all that is, you stop reacting emotionally to appearances. You stop panicking at the sight of what's wrong. You stop pleading with circumstances to change. Instead, you close your eyes and turn within. You recognize that the solution is not out there. It is in the transformation of your awareness. You are not meant to be a prisoner of the visible world. You are not born to be trapped in a maze of facts and figures. You are born to create, and creation begins by disregarding appearances and choosing instead to identify with a higher vision. When your bank account looks empty, when the phone doesn't ring, when opportunities seem to dry up, the natural instinct is to feel defeated. But if you can remember in those moments that the world is only reflecting your former self, not your eternal truth, then you can detach from what is and plant something new. You can look beyond the scene and declare, this is not all there is. There is more, and I am calling it in now. The power to rise above circumstances lies in your ability to see beyond them. This does not mean denial. It means spiritual maturity. It means knowing that what appears is not permanent. It is moldable, and it will shift the moment your consciousness shifts. Just as a shadow changes form when the angle of light shifts, your life changes form when you shift your inner state. But as long as you cling to what your senses report, as long as you treat them as final authority, you cannot break free from the cycle. The truth is, you are living in a world of shadows, not substance. The only substance is awareness itself. That which you focus on and believe within yourself gains substance and must eventually become form. The outer world is like the canvas, but your inner world is the brush and palette. If you do not like the current painting, you do not criticize the canvas. You change what's on your brush. You change the image you hold within. And here's the great secret. The moment you stop giving energy to what is and begin feeding what you desire, everything starts to change. Not instantly on the outside, perhaps, but immediately within. And that inner change is the seed of transformation. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, expect differently. You stop being defined by what surrounds you and begin being defined by what you've chosen to create. You move from reaction to creation, from victim to visionary. And life, obedient as it is, must respond. It begins to reshape, to reconfigure, to reorganize itself to match your new assumption. Because the outer world has no will of its own. It only reflects. It does not initiate. It echoes. And the moment you realize this, you're free. Free to choose a new inner state, no matter what surrounds you. Free to ignore what is and create what you want. Because what you see is not all that is. The real power lies in what you choose to imagine now. Feeling is the secret to everything you wish to create. It is not enough to merely think about your desires or repeat affirmations like a robot. It is not enough to visualize your goals in your mind's eye without emotion. The creative force behind all manifestation lies in the feeling, the deep, immersive sensory experience of already being the person who has what you want. Your feelings are the language of the soul, and the universe responds not to words or logic, but to the emotional frequency you embody. What you feel, you attract. What you feel consistently, you become. Thought alone is like planting a seed on stone. It holds potential, yes, but it cannot take root. Feeling is the soil, the water, the sunlight. It is the nourishing environment in which your desires come alive. When you think a thought and pair it with deep feeling, whether that be joy, gratitude, love, confidence, or peace, you impress that thought upon your subconscious mind. And once impressed, it becomes a pattern. And once patterned, it must express itself outwardly in the form of people, circumstances, and experiences that match that internal state. Most people live in contradiction. They speak of success, but feel lack. They say they want love, but feel unworthy. They imagine abundance, but feel fear when they check their bank balance. And so, despite all the effort they put into positive thinking, the results never change. Why? Because the feeling never shifts. The emotion they carry daily, whether anxiety, doubt, shame, or frustration, is the true creative energy shaping their lives. You cannot trick the law, you cannot fake the frequency, you will always manifest not what you want, but what you feel is true. If you desire change, you must begin with the emotional assumption that the change is already here. This means no more waiting to feel happy until the condition appears. No more postponing gratitude until the dream is realized. You feel it now, you feel it as if it already exists. You move through your day with the inner experience of someone who has already received the gift. That is the great key. That is the mystical doorway through which all true creation occurs. You may wonder, how can I feel something that isn't real yet? But here's the secret. The moment you feel it, it becomes real, not in the outer world at first, but in the dimension that actually creates the outer world, your consciousness. And once it is real there, the outer world must follow. It is law. Life does not resist your assumptions. It mirrors them. And the mirror does not reflect what you want. It reflects what you are. And you are what you feel. Feeling is the ignition switch of manifestation. It is the spark that awakens your inner reality and calls into being the visible counterpart. That's why daydreaming without emotion is empty. That's why empty affirmations spoken without belief feel hollow. But if for just a moment you close your eyes and genuinely feel the warmth of your dream as if it were already yours, if you feel the smile of satisfaction, the peace of security, the thrill of freedom, you've already begun the process of creation. The seed is alive. The vibration is active. There is no need to force or struggle or beg. The creative power does not respond to begging, it responds to assumption. And assumption lives in feeling. You don't wish for it, you know it. You don't hope for it, You feel it. You don't look around and wait for permission. You claim it in the silence of your own soul. That inner knowing, that invisible feeling is the command, and life must obey. Consider how you feel when you wake up from a vivid dream. For a few seconds, your body believes it was real. Your heart races, your palms sweat, you might even cry or laugh. Why? Because the feeling was so strong. Your nervous system accepted it as fact. That same mechanism is at work every time you consciously enter the state of your wish fulfilled. You bypass logic. You speak directly to the creative mind. And the mind, obedient as it is, begins to unfold that reality through space and time. It doesn't matter what's happening around you. It doesn't matter how unlikely your dream appears. The current conditions have no power unless you keep feeling them into being. But the moment you shift your inner state and sustain that new feeling, your life begins to reorganize. People you never expected show up. Doors you thought were closed open. Coincidences align. Why? Because you have stepped into the feeling of a new reality, and everything else must rearrange itself to match. So let go of striving. Let go of waiting. Let go of hoping. Choose instead to feel the truth of what you want, as if it already belongs to you. Walk through life with the quiet confidence of one who knows the outcome is assured. When you catch yourself falling back into old emotional habits, gently return. Close your eyes. Feel again. Re-enter the scene. Let it become real to you. Let it flood your senses. And most of all, let it move you. Because when the feeling is real, the manifestation is inevitable. Feeling is the secret, and the secret is yours now. To live in the end is to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire now, not tomorrow, not someday, but now. It is to dwell mentally and emotionally in the condition you seek, as if it already exists in this moment. This is not about fantasy or imagination without roots. It is a conscious shift into identity. You no longer see yourself as someone who is trying to achieve or waiting for the manifestation. Instead, you become the one who already has it, already is it, already lives it. This shift is everything. It is the inner foundation upon which all outer change is built. When you live in the end, you no longer beg for your desire. You no longer chase it. You assume it is done. And from that assumption, your thoughts, feelings, and actions begin to align. You speak differently. You think differently. You walk with a quiet confidence that others may not understand, but the universe does. It recognizes the signal you are sending, and it responds with precision. Reality bends to match the dominant state you hold within yourself. Not what you occasionally wish for, not what you talk about when you're feeling good, but what you consistently embody. Most people live in the beginning or in the middle. They live in longing, hoping, waiting, and trying. They look at their current reality and conclude, I don't have it yet. And in doing so, they unconsciously continue to create more lack, more delay, more struggle. They see their dreams as far away, and so the world reflects that distance back to them. But those who understand this deeper law know the truth. It is not about time, it is about state. If you can enter the state of the wish fulfilled and remain there, regardless of appearances, your world must shift to reflect it. This is not a mechanical process. It is not about forcing outcomes or repeating affirmations without heart. It is about fully accepting with faith and feeling that what you desire is already yours, that the version of you who has it already exists, and you can step into that version right now by claiming it with your consciousness. The outer world may not change instantly, but the moment you change your inner state, the process has begun. You are no longer trying to become, you are being. To live in the end means to feel what it feels like to already have what you want. If it's wealth you seek, you feel the ease, the confidence, the freedom of already being wealthy. You do not worry about bills or chase money. You relax into the reality of abundance. If it's love you seek, you don't look for validation or try to impress others. You feel cherished, seen, chosen, and so you begin to radiate the qualities that draw love to you. This inner embodiment is the real work. The rest, the people, the circumstances, the timing, is the echo that follows. This principle does not mean ignoring the physical world or pretending problems don't exist. It means not being ruled by them. It means acknowledging what is while remaining faithful to what will be, because you've already assumed it in consciousness. It means holding your inner position, even when the world tempts you to react, to fear, to doubt. It means staying loyal to your vision in the silence of your heart, even when nothing around you affirms it. Living in the end is the spiritual posture of creation. It is how the invisible becomes visible. The world cannot resist the one who lives from the end, because they are no longer asking, they are declaring. They are not questioning if it will happen, they are thanking the universe as though it already has. This certainty is magnetic. It collapses time. It dissolves obstacles. It turns the improbable into the inevitable. When you live in the end, you don't wait for signs to believe, you believe, and the signs follow. You don't search for evidence, you are the evidence. You don't chase the dream, you are the dream already realized, walking and breathing, and feeling as if the future is now. And because you live from that end, life becomes a mirror, reflecting that reality back to you in ways you could never have scripted. You meet the right people, the right doors open. Coincidences multiply. Why? Because you've moved into harmony with the result you desire. This is why inner work is the highest work. This is why imagination, when fused with belief, becomes creation. When you visualize your desire and feel it to be true, you are rehearsing your future. You are planting the seed in the fertile ground of your subconscious. And if you water it with persistence, if you refuse to be swayed by appearances, then the fruit must appear. This is law. It cannot fail. So stop living in the problem. Stop rehearsing the middle. Stop waiting for conditions to improve before you allow yourself to feel better. Decide now. Choose the end. Move into it with your thoughts, your feelings, your decisions. Wake up in the morning and ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already done? Then live that answer. Think from it. Feel from it. Act from it. Because the one who lives in the end cannot be denied. The universe has no choice but to match the state you persistently occupy. And the moment you commit to living in the end begins to live in you. Imagination is not a child's game, nor is it a mere escape from reality. It is the very fabric of creation, the divine tool through which all things are made. Every structure, invention, relationship, and experience that has ever existed first began in the unseen world of imagination. It was first felt, believed, and envisioned before it ever took form in the physical world. Your imagination is not passive. It is powerful. It is not separate from reality. It is the blueprint of reality. What you imagine with intensity and feeling sets into motion the invisible forces that bring about its reflection in your world. So many live as slaves to what they can see, hear, touch, and measure, not realizing that everything they now experience is the result of someone's imagination. The home you live in, the phone you hold, the music you love, all of it was imagined before it was constructed. And the same principle applies to your life. The version of yourself you long to become, the abundance you desire, the love you seek, it already exists in the world of imagination. Your job is not to figure out how it will come, but to fully enter that inner vision as though it were real now. Because in imagination, it already is. The world teaches you to be realistic, to base your expectations on past results or present conditions. But that is not creation. That is repetition. To create, you must move beyond what is and enter what can be, and what can be is always born in imagination. You must dare to close your eyes to the world around you and open your mind to the world within you. This is where all transformation begins. It is where the seed of every miracle is planted, not through struggle, but through belief. The world inside you is just as real, if not more real, than the world outside. The moment you imagine something clearly and feel it deeply, you have created it in seed form. And if you return to that inner image consistently, without doubt, the seed must grow. Events will begin to shift. People will play their parts. Resources will appear. Not because you forced them, but because you aligned yourself with the outcome through imagination. When you imagine, you are speaking to the subconscious mind. And the subconscious does not differentiate between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts the feeling and imagery you give it and begins to build circumstances to match. This is not fiction, it is spiritual law. Every time you return to the scene of your fulfilled desire, feel it, taste it, walk in it, you are impressing the subconscious, and that impression must express itself in time. To imagine is to access the divine creative power within you. You are not imagining for entertainment, you are imagining to become. You are stepping into the identity of the one who already has the desire fulfilled. You are clothing yourself in the vibration of that reality. And the moment that becomes your dominant inner state, the outer world must reflect it. You cannot dwell consistently in a state of wealth, love, or success in your imagination without seeing signs of it materialize in your experience. This is why daydreaming without structure or feeling rarely produces results. It is not enough to casually think of what you want. You must enter it. You must become so absorbed in the scene that the world around you disappears. You must feel the joy, the ease, the satisfaction of already having it. Let it move you emotionally. Let it feel more real than the physical world. Because in the realm of creation, it is more real. It is the cause. The outer world is the delayed effect. When you use your imagination this way, you are practicing the art of conscious creation. You are not leaving your life to chance. You are not waiting for permission or hoping things turn out well. You are intentionally forming the picture you want the world to copy, and it will copy it exactly faithfully, even if the path surprises you. Your job is not to worry about the how. Your job is to hold the image, to feel it deeply, and to trust that life will orchestrate the bridge of incidents required to bring it to pass. Imagination is your sacred gift. It is not reserved for artists or poets or dreamers. It is your access point to divine intelligence. When you use it with belief, you awaken a power within that is unlimited. You become the architect of your destiny rather than a victim of circumstance. Every night before you sleep, return to your imagined world. Step into it as though it is real now. Feel it, breathe it, own it, and as you do, you will begin to notice subtle shifts in your waking life, encounters, opportunities, ideas, impulses. These are the signs that your inner world is starting to push out. So never underestimate the scenes you play in your mind. They are not fantasies, they are previews. They are the seeds of what's to come. And if you will nourish them with faith and feeling and protect them from doubt, they must become flesh. This is the secret of all great achievers, mystics, and visionaries. They do not wait for the world to tell them what's possible. They imagine what's possible and let the world catch up. So imagine boldly. Imagine vividly, imagine daily, and do so knowing this truth. What you consistently imagine with belief will become your reality. It is law. Your five senses were never meant to guide your destiny. They were given to you to navigate the physical world, not to define what's possible. When you look around and only see what your eyes show you, hear what your ears pick up, and feel only what the skin can touch, you limit yourself to a narrow sliver of reality. The senses are delayed reporters. They give you information about what has already been manifested, never about what is currently being created. And when you give them the final say, you imprison yourself in the loop of what is instead of stepping into the limitless potential of what could be. To manifest the life you truly desire, you must ignore the tyranny of the senses and awaken a higher power, the unseen vision of faith. Every great change begins in a place the senses cannot reach. You don't feel it first. You believe it first. You don't see it first. You assume it first. You don't touch it. You imagine it. And when you do that with persistence, with emotion, and with faith, the physical must yield. But if you live your life only by what you can observe in the moment, you're always one step behind. You'll keep reacting, responding, and conforming to a reality that is nothing more than the echo of your past beliefs. This is the trap most people fall into. They want change, but they keep focusing on what is. They desire abundance, but they constantly check their empty bank account. They want love, but they stare at their loneliness. They want healing, but they obsess over the symptoms. The law of creation does not respond to what you see. It responds to who you are being, and who you are being is shaped by what you accept as true in your inner world. When you continue to feed your awareness with only what the senses report, you reinforce the very thing you wish to escape. You become emotionally entangled with your circumstances, and those emotions keep your subconscious anchored in the present condition. But when you dare to turn away from appearances and dwell in the unseen, you step into your creative power. This is not about denial, it is about dominion. It's not pretending the outer world doesn't exist. It's knowing it's not the source of truth. Faith is the power that sees beyond sight. It is the inner conviction that something exists even before it shows itself in form. It is not blind, it is visionary. It sees with the inner eye, the spiritual eye, the imaginative eye. And this inner vision is what pulls the future into the now. When you live by faith and not by sight, you are no longer reacting to life. You are directing it. You are no longer limited to circumstances. You are commanding the unseen forces that shape them. The senses are useful, yes, but they are servants, not masters. They report to your current state of being. They do not choose your state for you. You must train yourself to feel wealth even when the outer world reflects lack. To feel loved even when you are alone. To feel successful even when there is no evidence. Yet, that is the power that moves mountains. That is the mystery behind all lasting transformation. Those who master manifestation are not those who ignore reality completely. They simply refuse to let it dictate what they believe is possible. They understand that reality is fluid, not fixed. This is why so many fail in their attempts to change their lives. They may say the right affirmations, write down their goals, or visualize now and then, but the moment the senses contradict their desire, they fold. They start doubting, reacting, questioning, fearing. And so they return to the vibration of what they don't want, reinforcing it again. They are tossed about by what they see instead of anchored in what they know within. Real power comes when you remain steady, even when the senses scream the opposite of what you want. When you can walk in faith while surrounded by facts that deny your dream, you are becoming the master of your reality. This doesn't mean you stop observing the world. It means you observe it without letting it control your state. You become an objective observer rather than a reactive participant. You smile at the contradiction between your inner vision and the outer world because you know that what is seen is temporary. What is unseen is eternal. You no longer measure your progress by what others can witness. You measure it by how deeply you feel the reality within. And eventually something shifts. As you remain faithful to the unseen, as you persist in the assumption that your desire is already yours, the world around you begins to conform. People will notice. Circumstances will align. You will be led to take actions that match the version of yourself you've already become inside. This is not magic. It is law. The outer must follow the inner, always. So let the senses report what they may, but do not let them rule your mind. Look beyond them. Feel beyond them. Know that the most powerful version of you exists in the unseen realm, waiting, watching, and ready to be brought forth. Ignore what the senses say when they contradict your dream. Trust the inner vision because it is the seed of your future. The outer world is a photograph. The inner world is the negative that creates it. Change the negative, and the picture must change. To assume and persist is to claim the end result of your desire as already yours, and to hold that claim no matter what. It is not enough to wish. It is not enough to hope. It is not enough to imagine once. And then return to the reality of lack, doubt, or fear. The key to creation lies in assumption, believing and feeling that what you desire is already done, and in persistence, which means remaining faithful to that inner knowing, regardless of what the outer world currently shows. This is the great secret of manifestation. You must claim it within before it ever appears without. And once claimed, you must remain loyal to that assumption, treating it as fact, not fantasy. Assumption is not pretending. It is not empty daydreaming. It is the spiritual act of entering the state of the wish fulfilled. It is choosing in the silence of your being to identify yourself as already having, already being, already living in the reality you desire. And the moment you assume it, your mind begins to think from that new position. Your emotions begin to align. Your behavior begins to shift subtly. And most importantly, your subconscious mind receives the message, "This is who I am now." And the world, which is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state, must then rearrange itself to mirror your assumption. But the mistake most people make is that they assume for a moment, for a day, perhaps for a few nights. And then they waver. They check the outside world for signs. They start to doubt. They look at the bank account, the empty room, the unchanged situation, and they say, "It's not working." And in that moment of doubt, they return to the old state. They reaffirm the reality they are trying to leave. They abandon the assumption before it can bear fruit. Creation is not about a single act of imagination. It is about persistence in the assumption, especially when there is no evidence yet to support it. Persistence is power. Persistence is what separates a fleeting wish from a creative command. To persist is to stand unwavering in the face of contradiction. It is to hold your inner conviction so firmly that nothing external can shake it. It is to live from the end mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, even when the world offers no proof. This is not stubbornness in the ego. It is faith in the unseen. It is trust in the law. It is knowing that once a state is assumed and persisted in, it must manifest in time. When you assume and persist, you are planting a seed in the soil of consciousness. That seed contains the image, the essence, and the fulfillment of your desire. But like any seed, it requires time, nourishment, and protection from the elements. Doubt is the frost. Fear is the weed. Impatience is the pest. But faith and persistence are the sun and rain. They nurture the seed. They allow it to grow underground, unseen, until the day it breaks the surface in perfect form. The outer manifestation is always the last part to arrive. The real creation happens within, and it happens the moment you assume. Do not be fooled by appearances. Do not let delays discourage you. What you see now is not the truth. It is only the past catching up to the present. The present moment, the true creative moment, is your assumption. That is where the future is born. If you assume lack, you will create more lack. If you assume struggle, you will experience more struggle. But if you assume fulfillment and persist in it, then no matter how long it takes, no matter how unlikely it seems, reality must bend. Because your assumption is not just a thought, it is a vibration, a command, a cause. Everything in your life right now is the result of what you have assumed to be true about yourself and the world. You have done this unconsciously for years. Now you are invited to do it consciously, deliberately, creatively. Assume what you desire as already done. Step into it mentally. Feel the relief of it. Feel the joy of it. Feel the peace of it. And then persist. Carry that state with you through the day. Return to it when you wake up. Reaffirm it before you sleep. Let it become the dominant energy you carry. You may not control every condition, but you control the state you occupy. You can choose to remain in the old story or step into the new one. You can react to what is or create what will be. The choice is always yours. And the tool, the doorway, the power is assumption and persistence. This is how all things are made. not through struggle, but through belief, not through force, but through sustained inner vision. So if you are tired of waiting, tired of hoping, tired of feeling like change is always just out of reach, then stop looking for signs and start being the sign. Assume that you already have what you want and persist. No matter what, ignore the delays. Dismiss the doubts. Hold fast to the vision. Because the moment you persist in the assumption of your fulfilled desire, the universe must respond. It is not personal. It is principle. The outer world is compelled to reflect the inner world you commit to. And once you assume and persist, reality has no choice but to follow. The moment you assume that your desire is fulfilled, the wheels of unseen forces begin to turn. Life, as it seems on the surface, may appear unchanged, still ordinary, still slow, and unremarkable. But beneath the surface, something profound is happening. A bridge of incidents begins to unfold, an invisible path made of perfectly orchestrated events, people, and circumstances, all designed to carry you from where you are to the fulfillment of what you've already claimed within. You do not need to plan every detail, nor do you need to figure out how it will happen. The how is never your job. Your responsibility is to assume the end and persist in that state. Life will take care of the journey through what appears to be coincidence, chance, or even accidents. But make no mistake, nothing is random when you walk in faith. This bridge of incidents is not always obvious. It doesn't always feel magical or dramatic. In fact, it often looks mundane, logical, even accidental. But its genius lies in its subtlety. The bridge is crafted perfectly from where you currently stand to where you have positioned yourself in consciousness. You may be nudged to make a phone call. You might have an unexpected conversation. A job may end. A relationship may shift. These moments are not random disruptions. They are necessary movements to bring about the very thing you have already assumed. But if you are not grounded in your assumption, you may misinterpret the bridge. You may resist it, question it, or feel afraid. That is why your commitment to the state of the wish fulfilled must be unwavering. Many people give up on their dreams, not because they lack the power to create, but because they misjudged the process. They assumed their desire, but when unexpected events occurred, events that seemed contrary to the outcome, they doubted. They believed something had gone wrong. But in truth, the process had begun. The universe was reordering the pieces. Sometimes this involves disruption. Sometimes it means clearing out what no longer serves. Sometimes it means delays, reroutes, or solitude. But all of it is purposeful. All of it is intelligent. The bridge of incidents always leads exactly where it's supposed to. This is where trust becomes essential. When you truly live in the end, when you assume the state of already having your desire, you must also trust that the steps to its fulfillment are not your concern. You are not meant to micromanage the universe. You are meant to rest in the knowing that life is reshaping itself around your assumption. The people you need to meet are being moved into place. The resources are gathering. The timing is aligning. You may not see the entire path from your current vantage point, but each step will appear at just the right moment, often disguised as ordinary life. The bridge may require you to take action, but not forced or fearful action. The right actions arise naturally from your new state of being. When you assume you are already successful, the way you carry yourself changes. The decisions you make shift. You may be inspired to learn something new, speak to someone, or take a step in faith that you never would have considered before. These inspired actions are part of the bridge. They are the results of your inner transformation expressing themselves in the outer world. Trust them, follow them, and stay true to the state that birthed them. What confuses many is that the bridge doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like loss. Sometimes it feels like a detour. But remember this, the version of you that already has what you want might not be compatible with your current habits, people, places, or routines. So the bridge will often involve transition. You may be stretched. You may be challenged. but all of it is in service of aligning your external world with your new internal reality. Even in the silence, even when it seems nothing is happening, the bridge is still being built. This is why patience and persistence matter. You don't need to see every step. You only need to keep walking in faith. Let the evidence unfold in its time. Do not sabotage the process by questioning the journey. Let the path surprise you. Let it be strange, even uncomfortable, because when you look back, you will see the perfection in it all. Every seeming setback, every unexpected turn, was a necessary link in the chain of events leading you to your assumed reality. The bridge of incidents is not something you control, it is something you cooperate with. It is the unseen orchestration of all life aligning with your belief. This is why you must be careful not to judge what's happening too soon. Just because you can't see the full picture doesn't mean it isn't working. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it isn't on its way. Your inner state is the cause and the bridge is the effect. Stay true to the cause, and the effect will come. It must. So when things begin to move, when life feels stirred up or uncertain, don't panic, don't doubt. Smile and say the bridge is building. Know that everything is unfolding according to the assumption you have claimed within. Remain faithful to the end. Walk as the version of you who already has it. And trust that each step is being guided by the invisible hand of your own consciousness. Because once the assumption is made and persisted in, the bridge of incidents will carry you all the way home. Gratitude is the hidden fuel that accelerates manifestation. It is not merely a polite emotion or a social nicety. It is a powerful, energetic state that harmonizes your consciousness with the frequency of your desire. When you feel genuine gratitude for what you have not yet seen, you signal to the universe that it is already yours. You no longer come from lack, from need, or from waiting. You come from possession, from fulfillment, from peace. And that state of being, that deep inner thankfulness, becomes the magnetic force that draws your desire into form. Gratitude is the emotional evidence that you are already aligned with your desired reality. Most people reserve gratitude for after the fact. They are grateful once the money comes, once the relationship arrives, once the healing is visible. But true spiritual power lies in reversing that order. You do not wait to give thanks. You give thanks before it appears. You feel the joy of it before it's in your hands. You celebrate the answered prayer before the outer world reflects it, and in doing so, you collapse time. You close the gap between the imagined and the manifested. Because to feel grateful for something you haven't yet seen is to assume it already exists. And assumption is the womb of creation. When you dwell in gratitude, your focus shifts from what is missing to what is coming, from lack to abundance, from fear to trust. And this shift is everything. It moves your vibration out of desperation and into reception. It tells your subconscious mind, this is who I am now. This is my new normal. And once the subconscious accepts that, life begins to conform. You are no longer fighting for a new reality. You are living from it. Gratitude doesn't just feel good, it creates good. It's not passive, it's generative. It multiplies whatever you direct it toward. Think of gratitude as spiritual fertilizer. When you plant the seed of your desire in imagination, gratitude is what makes it grow. Every moment you spend appreciating the unseen reality as if it were already here is a moment of watering that seed. And unlike worry, doubt, or impatience, gratitude does not disturb the soil. It lets the process unfold naturally, joyfully, and with ease. You are not pulling the seed out of the ground to check on it. You are nurturing it in faith. You are saying, I trust the process. I know it's coming. In fact, I feel so sure. I'll start celebrating now. This kind of gratitude, advanced gratitude, is a mark of spiritual maturity. It says, I don't need proof to believe. My belief is my proof. It says, I don't wait for the world to bless me before I bless the world. It reverses the ordinary logic of the senses and taps into the logic of spirit. In the world of manifestation, it is not cause and effect. It is effect and cause. Feel it first, and then it comes. Thank it first, and then it appears. Be it first, and then you'll see it. The beautiful thing about gratitude is that it also transforms your present moment. It brings a richness and beauty to what is already around you. When you begin to appreciate the little things, the breath in your lungs, the sun on your skin, the quiet moments of clarity, you elevate your frequency. You tell the universe, I am ready for more because I honor what already is. And as a result, more is given. Not because you begged for it, but because you were a match for it. Gratitude makes you available for the life you desire. Even when things look stagnant or delayed, gratitude keeps you in alignment. Instead of asking, why hasn't it happened yet? You say, thank you that it is already on its way. You switch from frustration to fulfillment. You take your power back, you stop reacting and start creating. Gratitude removes you from the timeline of struggle and places you on the path of grace. It becomes your shield against fear and your anchor in faith. Let every day begin and end with gratitude, not just for what is visible, but for what you are calling in. See it in your mind. Feel it in your body. Speak it as if it's done. Let your heart overflow with thankfulness for the answered prayer, the open door, the transformed life. Even if you can't yet touch it in spirit. That touch is real. That feeling is creative, and it will not return void. Gratitude also keeps you humble and open. It reminds you that you are not manifesting alone, that a higher intelligence is working on your behalf, that unseen forces are moving in your favor. You may not see all the pieces yet, but you know the outcome is assured. And because you know, you give thanks in advance. That's the secret. That's the key. So let your gratitude go ahead of you. Let it pave the road to your desire. Let it light your way when things feel dark. Let it rise up in moments of doubt. Use it as your song of victory long before the battle is won. Because when you live in gratitude, you live in the end. And when you live in the end, nothing can keep your desire from reaching you. Gratitude is not just a reaction to your dream, it is the power that brings it to life. In closing, remember that the world you see around you is not the final word on your life. It is a reflection of your past assumptions, not a limitation of your future. When you choose to ignore what is and instead create what you want, you step into the true power of your consciousness. You reclaim your role as the architect of your reality, shaping your life not by reaction, but by deliberate creation. This shift requires faith, feeling, and unwavering persistence. It asks you to live in the end, to hold steady in your assumption, and to trust the invisible forces working on your behalf. The path may not always be clear, and the journey may test your resolve, but when you remain faithful to the vision within, the outer world will rearrange itself to mirror your inner truth. You are invited now to embrace this profound truth. Your imagination is not just a place to escape, but the gateway to your destiny. Your feelings are not merely responses, but the language of creation. Your persistence is not stubbornness, but the steady heartbeat of manifestation. And gratitude is not just appreciation. It is the magnetic force that draws your desires closer. Let these principles guide you daily. Let them shape how you see yourself and your world. For when you do, you will find that the life you have always dreamed of is not somewhere far away, but waiting for you to claim it here and now. Thank you for opening your heart and mind to these ideas. May you walk forward with confidence, knowing that the power to create the life you desire lies within you, ready to be awakened at any moment. Trust yourself, trust the process, and most importantly, trust that you are already living the reality you long for. Your future is yours to imagine, to feel, and to make real. Thank you.